Hello everyone. It's late for me to be doing this, but we were cruising back from our water pickup before we go into lockdown tomorrow. And so those of you that are asleep, you'll get this when you wake up. And again, these all stay archived in this group. So there's I found different stages in tapping, especially through all the work that I've done. And some of us lead with anger, and that covers sadness. That's more me. Other people lead with sadness, and it covers anger. One way or the other, it's possible that we just can't let ourselves get in touch with those emotions that feel tougher. And I see why it got lined up for me. Even though anger typically is less acceptable for women and more acceptable for men, and in converse for men, sadness is less acceptable and more acceptable for women. I got wired in the way of, oh no, I can let myself. It took me a while, but to let myself rant over all kinds of things, the unfairness, and I would say ranting over heartbreak. So depending on where you land, if you are someone that goes to anger first, then rant tapping, call it venting, whatever you want to call it, is a fabulous thing to do to allow you to rant out all the upsets, like rant it out. Like, I'm so mad, oh my God, I hate them so much. And I always say it this way, to allow yourself the pure, unadulterated truth. It's so important to allow the full, unadulterated truth. And the way you can do that is, if I could say anything to this person, they're never going to hear it. They're not going to be privy to it. But I get this safe, quiet space to allow myself this truth. What would I say to them? And I find it can take people time. Like, they're like, well, I'd say this, hey, Marcy, great to see you. They're like, well, I can let my, a fantastic ranter, by the way, I can let myself have this, or I could say, I'm really angry at you, but to really go down into the depths of it can feel so challenging, especially in our, which is so oxymoronic, being appropriate society. Like on one hand, we have this society where we're all told to be so appropriate, and on the other, you're like, wait, what's going on? So if you find that you struggle with the ranting or the rage, then you could that's where to start. Oh my gosh, I struggle with this. I can't really let myself have this. And you might not even know that it's something that you're really struggling with. You might just be like, oh, I just don't have it. I cannot tell you how many clients I've worked with, and I don't push anybody on this, have said, I just don't, I don't really feel that. But then all of a sudden it's like, boom, all the feelings finally get unearthed and start to catch up with them. If, on the other hand, you're someone like me, but it took me a while to be able to rant as much as I can and as unadulteratedly as I can. And the more I've done that, the more what I've found is I'm having so much more access to sadness now. Actually, even just to allowing myself my tears. Like, I cry more now than I ever have. And I can cry at the sweetest moments. But that came from allowing myself my ranting, unadulterated truth. So a recommendation I have is, heartbreak can come from so many things. Often we ping it to a romantic relationship, but we can have heartbreak over parents, over siblings, over a boss, over an animal, anything, the loss of a job, the loss of a lifestyle. We can have that over any of that. It's just we've not learned to get in touch with that. So the more you tap, because tapping has a cumulative effect, you'll start to notice, wow, I am noticing that I have access to these emotions that I didn't formally have. So, but the assignment is to write down like your list of heartbreaks. You could start with, if I really check in, I'm really heartbroken over, and just see what flows. Another statement that's super helpful, it seems to like let the bypass the conscious mind, is, if I had to guess, I'm heartbroken over. If I had to guess. It's amazing how that sentence will act like it's as if it really does bypass the rational conscious mind. And then you can write down your list of heartbreaks and tap through them and use that. And you might have to rant out the heartbreak if it's something you haven't left, or you might have to just let yourself go to the sad place. But just notice if you have resistance to either, because what I spent years doing is, I always say it this way: you think your feelings instead of feeling them. So I would think my feelings instead of feeling them. I'd be like, I'd just zip right up in my head. As soon as a potent emotion would come up, other than anger, when I really started to allow that, it was like, oh, I'm going to feel sad. No, you'll see it in so many of us. We bite the lip, where, you know, we try to hold back the tears. I mean, we're actually trained to do that in so many ways. And to start to allow yourself to just say, you know, tap through, I'm not comfortable with ranting on this, or I'm not comfortable on feeling sad. So we'll do sadness tomorrow. We're going to do the ranting today. And we're just going to start with we're just going to start this way. All right, karate chop. Even though it's hard for me, I think I feel guilty ranting. I shouldn't be this angry at someone. It's really not appropriate. I choose to acknowledge I feel this way now. Even though I'm not comfortable with this. Ranting about my heartbreak? I'd rather just bypass it. I'm trying to be forgiving. I choose to honor my feelings now. Even though ranting over heartbreak kind of seems counterintuitive to me. Aren't I just supposed to feel sad about it? I choose to acknowledge my uncertainty now. And go to the eyebrow. I can't rant over heartbreak. It just doesn't seem appropriate. I mean, as much as I dislike them, it's the best they could do. They just couldn't do any more. They weren't capable of it. And though that might be true, it doesn't mean that I shouldn't have my feelings. And I might not be ready to go there yet. And that is totally okay. But I really want to honor my full feelings. And if I end up getting ragingly mad about something, if I learn to allow it in a safe and healthy way, I find freedom on the other side of the emotion. And as I allow myself my full emotional experience and honor my own timeline and my own way, things can really start to change for me. But I can start with the guilt I might feel about being really angry with someone. And as I work through that guilt, I bet I can allow myself my truth more. Even if that truth is rageful. Because as I allow that to myself, in that safe and healthy way, and honor my truth, I can find liberation on the other side. So take a breath. So if you found that helpful, do it again many times you need to. So the first, you might have to deal with the guilt. So that, and what I also find is we all tend to make like excuses for people when we're not really ready. It's like, well, you know, I know they're hurt. That's all true. But you get to bypass that and give yourself your unadulterated truth. But the key to me is to start with any guilt you might feel about, oh, I really don't want to be angry at them. I mean, you know, I had somebody tell me once, I don't do that, I'm a lady. And I thought, wow, there's some programming that ladies aren't allowed to get angry. And is that really true? Or is that a cultural phenomenon, part of the ego's agenda that says, oh, that's not ladylike? And if you really think about it, that's just a paradigm that we've all been taught, like that's not ladylike. And honestly, I'm like, who wants to be ladylike in that way? Because it just inhibits so much for us. So anyway, Marcy, so happy to see you here. My phone seems to be doing weird things, or maybe the internet is. I can't tell who else is here, but we'll see you back here tomorrow for day 14. We'll be 2 weeks in. And that's it for now. Have a great rest of your night, morning, wherever you are, whenever you see this. Bye for now.